I was talking to Chris Algieri. Chris Algieri fought, Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao. And he was saying before he fought Manny Pacquiao, they played up the fact that he was living in his parents' basement. And the HBO story was boxer who's living at home with his parents, is now fighting Manny Pacquiao for a world title. And he was like, I was living at home because my parents are Italian and Argentinian. And in Latin American culture, like, people just live at home. Dude, the guys I know, my in-laws in Colombia, they live at home until they get married, and then they leave. Like well into their 20s and 30s. They live at home until they get married, and then they go. It's crazy. Now, that's a different thing than we have to live with mom and dad because the entire world is unaffordable. That's a completely different scenario. I'm simply saying spending some time with family even into your 20s is considered disreputable in this culture, but there are many cultures where it is not. And I think people who might be struggling at least should take some solace in that. However, that's not really the central problem. The central problem is they would like to go and leave and they cannot because housing is unaffordable, because rent is unaffordable, because cars are unaffordable. This is a much bigger problem that I don't really have a very simple answer for you. You're asking about the declining birth rate as well. I mean, that's partly a function of, I think, male isolation. Like, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the scholarship on this about how much more higher education is just not merely catering to women. I don't mean through classes. I don't mean that at all. I mean quite the opposite. Like, young men are just not attending college like they did when I was, 18 years old. There's a significant drop off. And of course, the response is not everybody has to go to, a liberal arts institution to learn about Socrates. This is true. Not everyone does. And in fact, in parts of Europe where they have a much more and greater appreciation for trade school, you can pick a trade pretty early on, go get it, and then you can live a very, very comfortable, middle-class, successful life. Like, that's a real thing that I think we should also embrace. But again, it gets back to not is there a charming part to this, but rather what is at the root of the fact that there's a lot of young men disconnected from higher education. That's bad for them, and that's bad for society, right? This is quite bad. Again, not for every case, but as a general rule, this decline is not a function of a more enlightened approach. You've got a lot of young men living at home because they cannot attain status, and because they cannot attain status, they feel like they cannot have a romantic partner. And when they cannot have a romantic partner, I mean, you just have this compounding problem all the way down. Like, that's serious. It's really, 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 really bad for society. The answer is we have to, beyond what any individual actor does to improve their material conditions, we have to rethink higher education. We have to engage with young men where they are. We have to show them, we have to take their considerations and their needs, I think, as it relates to these particular problems, very seriously. I also think young men are in desperate need of fucking better role models. I think they're in desperate need of a better understanding about how life actually works and like what are the true ingredients. Dude, like, in many ways, what I'm about to tell you is the dumbest and most profound thing I can tell you. I mean it sincerely. It's why, like, super rich people, ultra rich power is corrupting, because it's very difficult to have any meaningful personal interaction with somebody because they're always going to want something from you. So that's a little bit different. But like, why do rich people still are depressed and kill themselves? Like, I would love to have more financial security. I'm sure we all would. But the reality is, if you take care of your sleep and you take care of your diet, and you are reasonably happy at work, and you put in the effort to make yourself attractive to a partner, and you don't have the seething disdain for the opposite sex, and you take care of your marriage, and you take care of your family, like, just doing the simple things over a long period of life, that's all. That's life. That's the best of life. That's it. That's the best of life. It's not achieving like some online acclaim. It's not, it's not the adoration of, everyone in your peer group or something. I mean, some of these things can be attained in more narrow contexts for more noble purposes, but it's just the simple life, living healthy, investing in yourself and investing in a romantic partner, whatever that means for you, and taking care of that, and finding simple joys and leaning into your hobbies, and that's everything. That's life. And I think people try to make it be so much grand. And I did it too. Fuck. I'm the most guilty guy who did that. About it has to be achieved on this like rat race sense of scale and like what's at the top, and it has to be these grand ambitions fulfilled. And it's like, dude, at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't ever actually make me and most people all that happy. It is the simple life. That is what makes you happy. It is the simple things. And that can be hard to maintain over the course of your life, right? Not easy. Like, you're going to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. Bad things happen to good people. Like, I get it, but I'm just trying to impart this sense of, you're asking about birth rates and whatnot, but I'm trying to speak to disaffected young men. I want you to hear me very clearly, and anybody disaffected, but who is young enough to do something about it. All you really need is a very simple life to be profoundly happy. That's it. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Having a romantic partner, having an active sex life, having somebody you can talk to, having some friends, having a social life. These are very difficult things to obtain in the modern world, and I sympathize with people who struggle with it. But if there is good news I can deliver to you, it is absolutely the case that the simple life is the happiest one for the vast majority of people. And I hope that people can find, especially young men, I hope that they can find reasonable paths to obtain that.